Spring's finally here. The temperature hits 60 degrees, and you're ready to go fishing. You get your stuff out of the attic, you go to your favorite fishing pond, and you start casting. You realize, though, the bass are acting a little bit weird. Well, you know what? They're spawning. And this is the time of year when you can catch big bass, if you know how to. So today, I'm going to show you how to fish for bass in the spawn. There's one. That's a big one. That's a big fish. Oh, shit, that's a huge one. Don't hold your hand. Use the 8-pound line right now. Gotta take my time. Drag. Ah! Yes! Oh my god, let me show you guys this one. I barely hooked him. What he did right there, he saw my bait and grabbed it by the head. I set the hook, barely got him in the gill. Look how easy this is gonna come out. That's why it's so critical to keep tension at all times on these fish. Okay, in order to catch fish in the spawn, you first must understand what the spawn is. Now in the winter, the bass are stationed deep. They're in 20, 30, even 40 feet of water at some lakes. They're schooling up, they're being real lethargic, they're not feeding. But as soon as the water hits around 50 or 55 degrees, the bass realize they have to start laying eggs. This is the perfect temperature for the sun to incubate the eggs so they can hatch properly. So they move on to secondary points, and flats. These are the perfect places to find food so they can fatten up for the spawn. This is what we call a pre-spawn bass right here. Now once the water hits around, say, 60 degrees, they move in to the creeks. They need the shallow water in order for the sun to incubate the eggs. What happens is the males will make nests along the bank. The females will then come in and lay their eggs, and then they'll leave. The males will guard the nest with the eggs for 2 to 5 days until the eggs hatch, and then they'll guard their fry until they're about 2 inches long. This is what we call a spawning bass. After this, the females and males will scour along the deeper areas of the flats, the points, and the secondary points relating to offshore structure. They need to fatten up now too because they've lost a lot of energy during the spawn. And any of these times are probably the best time in the season to catch a big bass. This is a perfect place for bass to spawn. We got a nice little inlet with a lot of trees. That's going to provide a lot of protection and for the bass's eggs and the bass's fry. Hey, this is right where they want to spawn. So what we're going to be doing, we're going to be hitching small jigs, light jigs, and finessing right over where we think the spawning beds are. This is my friend Jason. He's going to be helping me out with this. Hopefully we get into one. Big. There's one. And he's got one. That looks like a good one. Oh yeah. Oh geez, that's a big one. Yeah, I'll help you, man. I'll help you. Don't force me. Get your time. Alright. You got him? Lip him. Lip that SOB. Oh.
Look how red he is.
She.
Look
That's how you tell her. Let me see.
Look how red her mouth is.
That's how you.
Hey, it's my fish.
This is how you tell the difference between a male and a female right here. That red lip. If it's red lip, that's a female. That is a. Here, take your fish.
This is a big in.
It's a gorgeous 3.5 pound female.
Oh yeah. Man. Shows what a jig can do.
Oh yeah. Shows what you can catch in the spawn.
Oh yeah. Just a big female sitting on her bed.
You want to pick?
There are 3 stages to the spawn: the pre-spawn, the spawn, and the post-spawn. And in each of these stages, the bass behave completely differently. Here are a few of my favorite baits for each of the stages. The name of the game for fishing for pre-spawn bass is covering water.
Here, the fish are going to be on big flats, a lot of points, and a lot of secondary points, and you have to be able to cover water quickly to find these schools of bass. These are a few of my favorite baits for covering water during the pre-spawn. Jerk baits are one of my favorite baits to fish over points during the spawn. They cover a lot of water and they get a lot of reaction strike. Swim baits are another one of my favorite baits to fish during the pre-spawn. They're perfect for covering water over large flats, and they're perfect for getting reaction strikes over points and secondary points. Spinner baits are another great bait for covering a lot of water. These are both laser eye spinner baits. Hey, I normally stick with 1/2 ounce and 3/8 ounce. When I'm imitating a shad head, I use white with a little bit of blue flake. When I'm imitating bluegill, I use chartreuse and white. Okay, and I always go with a double willow blade combination. I feel like that really helps me work the bait really quickly and make it seem erratic. And that's what the fish want during the pre-spawn. Lipless crankbaits are one of my favorite baits to use to imitate a dying shad. They're perfect for covering a lot of water on flats and fishing through the tops of grass. During the spawn, the bass are on their beds protecting their eggs from anything that might harm them. Bluegill, a shad, a crawdad, anything. Now soft plastics really dominate this time of year because they can finesse a bass into thinking they're one of those predators. The bass will attack your bait, and what's their only weapon? Their mouth. They'll bite it, and you'll be right there to set the hook. Texas rigs are one of the most popular baits for visually pitching at beds during the spawn because you can fish them so many different ways and imitate so many different things. And what I mean by visual pitching at beds is you visually see the bass and the bed that it's on with its eggs, and you cast directly into the bed and work your bait in different motions. You try and find a motion that makes the bass aggressive enough to bite. Texas rigs are perfect for that. Shaky heads are another one of my favorite baits to use during the spawn because I feel like they imitate worms and bait fish so well. They make the bass extremely aggressive, and that's what you want to do in the spawn. Jigs. This is what we were catching them on the entire day. Yes, I did catch one at the beginning of the show on a shaky head, but for the most part, we were blind casting at beds, finessing jigs over them, and that's how we were getting our bites. Now, fishing the post-spawn is very similar to fishing the pre-spawn. You fish in the same areas with very similar tactics, but with one key word: downsizing. The bass are now targeting small fry of the bass, so you have to use smaller baits to comprehend that. Smaller crankbaits like these Strike King are perfect for covering water on flats and rocky points. These smaller spinnerbaits are perfect for covering water on flats and rocky points, just like a crankbait is. But the difference is you get to cover the upper zone of the water. And lastly, these small swim baits are probably one of my favorite baits to fish in the post-spawn, just because they imitate a bass fry perfectly, and that's exactly what the bass are feeding on.
The only big things there, Jack. Florida? There's one. Oh! I'm swinging it. Not quite 3.
That's a 2.5. That's
a 2.5.
That's at least a 2.5.
Oh, hang on. Look at this, guys. Look at this. This is how you want him eating your bait right there. Right down his gullet. That's how you know you're using the right thing. 2.5 pounder. Fat female. Real fat. She's getting ready to spawn.
Yeah, fine.
That's the bass that fit me. That's a good fish. Oh, geez, I'll help you. Don't horse it in. Take your time. Take your time.
Definitely pulling.
Bring him over here. Bring him over here. That's a big one.
Another 3-pounder.
Oh, that's a 4. That's a 4-pound female right there. Oh, here.
Where's my gambler?
He took it. You hooked her good too. Here, show him. Go show him the fish.
Oh.
Go get him. Oh wow, that's a huge spawning bass right there.
Just caught a 4-pound spawning female on a jig. She stole my trailer, but I don't care. It's a 4-pound bass.
Well, we're out of time, but I truly believe that this is the best time of year to catch big bass. And I hope I've shown you today how to catch fish in
and the spawn.